What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel and podcast, Dodgers Dugout Live. Today, we've got a special guest, friend of the show, World Series champion, Mr. Landon Knack, joins us today. Landon, Thanksgiving weekend. Thank you so much for joining us here on Dodgers Dugout Live, my man.
Yeah, I always enjoy hopping on, man.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Ronnie, a parade. We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Milky magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. All right, Landon, so we got to talk about, Blake Snell. They go out there, they sign Blake Snell, and how I think this relates to you as far as the question I have is, you've been in this Dodgers organization for a good amount of time now, and you've been around some of the best pitchers in the game. Clayton Kershaw, Glasnow, Yamamoto already as a rookie established himself, Walker Buehler, the list goes on and on. What do you take from being around some of these guys, and how much of an advantage is it for you as a young pitcher coming up to be around such elite talent?
It's a huge advantage, especially because we have so many guys that do so many different things well, that you can kind of is whatever you're trying to do, you can kind of pick a different guy's brain to try to figure out exactly kind of what works for you. I think obviously Kersh is a great guy to be around, and Walker, though, I think Walker at some point will likely be a coach, because he just kind of has that kind of brain where he wants to talk about things, and he's actually really good at being able to explain kind of his process and be able to try to show you exactly what he wants to do. So I think Walker is a great guy to have been around to be able to talk about a bunch of that stuff with. But yeah, it's the talent that we've had obviously come through over here. It's just a huge plus to be able to be around those guys.
Yeah, and last night, I'm just hanging out, watching the Laker game. I see Blake Snell posting something, him in a Dodgers uniform. Did you find out like the rest of us?
Yeah, I was literally just we were sitting there having dinner with some friends, and I just saw it pop up on my phone, the update, and was like, oh my gosh, we did it again. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Can you share any, with the group chat lighting up, I'm guessing?
A little bit. There's guys talking about it a little bit, but it was mostly just kind of some friends reaching out to me immediately, just be like, do you see what just happened? But yeah, it's obviously, we're going to be in on all a bunch of those guys and trying to compete for to repeat over here. So it's just it's exciting to see.
Yeah, now that it's been more than a month, you look back, are you like the rest of us that are just continuing to watch these games again, watch these moments again? You got them in your head, you experience them in real time, but just now you have time to process it. What's it like to just know, hey, you're World Series champion? Just how are you continuing to kind of celebrate that?
Honestly, it still hasn't fully hit me. I don't know when it actually will fully hit me, just because, like I said before, it's so was expected of us, us to do. We expected to win, and so doing it felt just it was what we were supposed to do. And so now that we've still taken some time away, it hasn't fully hit me the magnitude of everything that really happened. And so yeah, obviously it's kind of been replaying in my head some of the things, the parade, everything, the whole celebration. But it's just been crazy to still sit and think about.
And an incredible thing is, you had your fingerprints on this World Series. You had a role on this club, and you pitched in the World Series the game before the clincher. And you go in there in game 4, you go 4 innings, give just 1 run on 2 hits. You're a big reason why they were able to overcome having their starter just be able to go 4 outs. And they were able to go out there and use Blake Trine as early as they did. What was the message to you after that game 4, and what were you able to do for this club? What was the message from your teammates, the managers, just about everything you were able to provide?
Yeah, it was 100%. It was kind of like I said during the World Series, it was really just trying to save the Dogs as much as possible for that next game. We obviously, coming into that game, I was just trying to provide as much length as possible so that we could continue to give guys as much rest. But also at the time, we were in that game, so it was really try to keep us in the game, but provide length to save the rest. So it was I mean, a lot of it was I was just trying to save everybody. So it was kind of a bunch of positive feedback from everybody. A bunch of guys that were very excited that we saved a bunch of those guys for the next day, so we were able to use the pen the way that we did.
And the mindset out there has to be what you're talking about, going out there, saving the pen, but you're at Yankee Stadium, pitching for the Dodgers in the World Series. Just how different did it feel than making a start in the middle of the summer, even at Dodger Stadium, which is already a big deal? But I mean, we're talking about something that just does not get any bigger than what you experienced.
Yeah, I think while I was throwing, I felt comfortable enough that like it didn't feel that crazy during it. It really didn't feel that crazy until I came out. Like once I finished and I just kind of like sat and like started looking around, then I think it kind of hit me. I was like, this is nuts. I've just pitched in the World Series at Yankee Stadium, like the biggest stage you could possibly have. Yeah, I mean, it was just like excitement and a lot of fun afterwards. But during, I just like, it just felt comfortable. I just felt like I was just trying to execute everything I was doing and just like do what I do.
Yeah. And you go, I kind of want to start at the end, kind of move my way back. You look at the NLDS. You come in there in that game 4. After the game, I said this could be one of the most important wins in Dodgers history because you stayed off elimination. You beat the Padres in game 5. You go on to win the World Series. How big was that for you as far as a confidence builder? You can go out there in the postseason against the team that a lot of your teammates have said was the best team in baseball in 2024 and go out there and contribute the way you did?
It felt great. I mean, yeah, 100%. Just being able to kind of get out there and close down that game. Because, yeah, no, as the guys have said, like, they really were the best team in baseball. Like, those guys were absolute studs down there. So, yeah, being able to get past them felt like we'd won it already just about right there. And so, yeah, it was a huge confidence boost just being able to get out there against them again and just kind of be able to shut it down.
Yeah, and when you look at navigating the lineups, I mean, how much more potent is it to go against a Padres lineup versus the Mets versus the Yankees? Or is it, all these guys have talented hitters, I had to go out there and do my job?
It was all those guys have talented hitters. I mean, obviously, the kind of the depth that the Padres had really top to bottom in that lineup, like they were absolutely unbelievable. But like, yeah, obviously the Mets and the Yankees both like top to bottom were still just unbelievable kind of lineups to go through, especially facing like Lindor and Vientos for the Mets. And then obviously you got freaking Soto, Judge, and Stanton going through the Yankees. So yeah, I mean, they both of those lineups as well were just absolutely stacked. And so yeah, getting to kind of get through those guys was a fun challenge.
Yeah, I kind of want to dig deeper into the Dogs. You brought them up a couple minutes ago, and that really is one of the big storylines of this run is, yeah, you guys have all the talent in the world, but you managed to win the World Series with 3 starters going, and then you kind of mix and matching in a bullpen game here and there. You have your bullpen covering over 60% of the outs. Where did the Dogs thing kind of originate from? Is there a ringleader of that Dogs? Is there a Cesar Millan kind of dog whisperer out there? Just kind of how did it all come about from your perspective?
I think the Dogs nickname and everything was kind of created by Broussard. He started the thing where we kind of started barking at guys as they were coming out of the pen to come in the game. And so I think it mostly started with Broussard, and then we all just kind of embraced it down there and really just kind of had that mentality the whole way through.
Yeah, and where were you at in game 5 when Walker Buehler came out to the pen, started throwing, and it was pretty clear at that point that he was going to find a way to get in that baseball game? It's kind of, what was your perspective of that, and what do you kind of remember from that?
Yeah, I was down in the bullpen as well. Like we as he kind of came down, it was kind of right as we were starting to get deeper into the bullpen. We were starting to look at it and think about the coverage through the rest of the game. We're like, we don't really have a ton left as we're getting through this. We're either going to have Huddy go again. And really, besides, once we got past him, it was like I had thrown 4 the day before, but like there was a point where even I was like, I mean, there's a small chance I have to actually get in this game at some point if we get too far into this. But so when Walker came down, he was kind of course, like going through, like talking to Mark and a couple of them on the phone and just like basically trying to fight his way into that game. And so kind of when you saw it come down, we're like, if he gets in the game, it's done. Like it's over. He just kind of has that mentality where he just wants the ball in those situations. And so we had all the confidence in the world once he showed that we had a chance to get him in the game, that he was going to shut it down.
Yeah, and it just kind of felt like this entire postseason run that you guys had an edge. One way or the other, it was not, are we going to win? It's just how we're going to win. We're going to do in a lot of different ways. We can do the Mets series, 42 runs, all the walks, getting on base, and you still were able to get good starts and good innings out of the pen as well. Then the Yankee series, you win a couple different ways. The Padres series, you gut out a victory in the clincher with 2 home runs behind a great performance by Yamamoto and the bullpen stepping up. But how did you see that edge with this team? And kind of, was there a player, kind of a moment that kind of stuck out to you? Like, okay, this Dodgers team, I know you weren't a part of the ones in the past, but this Dodger team almost was playing with a chip on their shoulder in this World Series run.
I think it was really just kind of the entire vibe that we had in the clubhouse, just kind of the way that we went about it, really even before the postseason started, just kind of as soon as Mookie kind of talked to us all about how we were going to prepare this year and like really just wanting to keep everybody together as much as possible throughout the entire thing, having the watch parties before we kicked off, and just kind of the closeness that the entire team had. I mean, it just felt like we were going to fight through whatever was coming in front of us. And so I think it was really, it was just kind of the mentality we all had coming in.
Yeah, when I heard that and the stories about you guys taking the bus down to San Diego instead of taking your own cars, and the watch parties and everything that you guys are doing, playing video games. I mean, what was that downtime like in between the wild card round and the NLDS? Were you guys playing video games, watching movies? I mean, what movies, video games we were playing? Just what was that like? Were there like little groups of dudes on the team? Because it feels like everyone's so close and anyone can really talk to anyone in this team.
Yeah, we were really just, a lot of the time was just kind of spent together at the field. When we were doing the watch parties, we had like ping pong tables, cornhole, pop-a-shot. And so you kind of just had guys like kind of competing in games over there, playing together, just hanging out and just kind of like eating some good food and just kind of watching the games. And so it was really just, a lot of it was just kind of the time spent together as we were kind of getting through there.
Yeah, how's your pop-a-shot game? Your ping pong too?
I'm decent at pop-a-shot. Ping pong, I didn't hop on ping pong enough to stay hot on that. We have ping pong in spring training too that we get on, but you got guys fighting for that table just to hop on. Brewstar is the one who just kind of runs it over there. He's unreal at that.
Yeah, no, you guys get down in the clubhouse with the ping pong. I remember a couple years ago, there was a ping pong ball that came near me, and I brought it back and I gave it to Brewstar Gratterall, and he took it from me and he called me Talking Guy. So I was like, cool, I'll go with that nickname. That works for me. It's pretty much what my teachers and my family members have always called me, so works for me. So that's cool that you guys were able to have that. Now, as far as you this season, I mean, what an incredible year. You make your debut. You pitch in the World Series for the first time. Looking back at your 2024 season, going up and down from OKC to LA, doing everything that they needed for you to help this team win a world championship. Looking back at your 2024 season, just how do you assess it?
Yeah, it was a wild season, obviously. Yeah, kind of a wild ride. Obviously going to Korea, getting the kind of pump fake in Korea where I was active but didn't get to debut. I warmed up like 3 times in that first game. And then didn't get in. So then early season getting a debut at home at Dodger Stadium. And then just, the kind of the back and forth, trying to stay as consistent as possible while kind of riding the rail back and forth. I mean, it was a very great, it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun to kind of be able to get up there, learn as much as I can, and use that experience kind of moving forward, and just kind of be able to take down the innings that we needed to be able to kind of get as many wins as we needed to be able to save bullpen, be able to kind of do what we did all the way through to the postseason, and then getting to pitch in the postseason and be a part of that roster, and then be able to pitch in the World Series. I mean, it was a great first year in the league. I mean, I don't know how much better you could have it actually winning a World Series your first year. But I feel really good about where we are. I think I've learned a lot of stuff that to kind of work on for next year, to be able to show up ready to go. And I'm already kind of back at things, just excited to get back to it.
Yeah, because I always kind of imagine, like, what would it be like for me if I was in your shoes? I mean, being with the Dodgers, they are a team that has World Series expectations every single year. I mean, I hate to throw out the World Series or bust thing, because we know in baseball, it's more complicated than that. I mean, you haven't had a back-to-back champion since 2000, right? To think you're going to win the World Series every year is ridiculous. But for you, it's like, okay, I make my debut with the Dodgers, or it's like, do I make my debut with a team like a lesser team where maybe I have a bigger role? Is that better for me? But I think for you in the long run, I mean, everything that you've experienced from a development standpoint, the guys you've been around, you have to kind of probably look back at this year and think to yourself, man, there's nothing I haven't experienced at this point. I don't have to dream about making my debut. I don't have to dream about pitching in the World Series. How important do you think that's for you moving forward in your career?
I think it's huge. Yeah, as you kind of have experienced everything, nothing is going to catch you off guard at this point. You kind of know what to expect no matter what the situation is. You know how to prepare. You've seen everything. And so I think kind of as we now are going into year two, obviously it's a huge confidence builder for one, just to be able to have experienced all that. And two, you learn a lot from a lot of it. I've learned a lot from a lot of those games, especially more kind of the bad games I learned a lot from. I learned a lot from my last start against San Diego in the regular season. I learned a lot really from the CS against the Mets. And so I think taking a lot of that as we kind of move forward on what to work on, what to adjust, and how to attack guys moving forward. It was a huge experience for me.
And as you mentioned, you technically got optioned 4 times. Really, it's 5 if you consider Korea and everything that was happening there. But then you got a save. You're one of 14 Dodgers to pick up a save this season. You got a 4-inning save against the Brewers. As far as your role moving forward with this organization, does the depth that they have in the starting rotation motivate you even more so to say, look, I'm Landon Knack. I know that I can pitch with these guys. I know that I can crack this rotation, and I can also help this team coming out of the bullpen as well. As far as your role for this team, how does that change based on what you did this season and based on the current talent that's on the roster?
I mean, yeah, obviously it's fun to be able to kind of compete for a lot of those jobs here. I mean, that's the thing with being able to acquire the kind of talent that the Dodgers can. I mean, you got guys like Blake Snell and some of them now in the rotation. And so, absolutely, it makes you kind of want to work just that little bit harder to kind of compete and be able to kind of put your stuff up against some of those guys. And yeah, absolutely. The way that this year went for me, I mean, it gave me a ton of confidence coming into this next year to know that like I can pitch in the big leagues at a high level for a long time. And so, absolutely. As we're kind of going into this off season, like obviously I don't know exactly what my role will be next year. I'll be fighting for one of those rotation spots, of course. But then, of course, if I turn into a long relief guy as well, I mean, I have experienced that and know how to handle that as well. And so I think kind of the versatility that this year brought to me, being able to take on whatever role is needed, it's going to be a huge piece for me moving forward. So I'm confident going into this next year, whatever we need.
Yeah, and I look at, I mean, career high 100 in the third innings pitch at the big league level, 137 if you include what you did in OKC. And for me, anytime you're on the mound, it's like Landon Knack's going to go 4 or 5. I mean, even late in September, you were averaging 4 1/3 innings per start. I mean, what's the biggest key for you out there to stay on the mound like you do when, I mean, some other guys aren't lasting that long around the league? I mean, that's kind of a thing that's trending downward, but for you, it's the consistency with the innings that you pitch.
Yeah, it's really just trying to get ahead as much as possible. I think kind of what I learned this year a lot. I was searching a little bit for my throw early on. I was making work with what I had, but we were trying to work on some things, trying to get the throw back in the right spot. And we started to figure it out a little bit back into the year as far as that throw goes, and started to get it locked in a little bit more. And so I think now as we kind of have that a little bit more locked in, we can go back to a little bit more of what I do, and that is commanding strike zone with my fastball, especially at a high level. I've always been a command guy, and so being able to kind of get back on that's going to be huge for me. But it's really just the consistency of things, like really getting ahead on guys, attacking, and trying to get kind of quick results, kind of be able to get deep into those games.
Yeah, and if you look at your mix, I mean, 4-seam slider, curveball, changeup, threw a few sweepers in there. Do you think that's going to stay the same heading into next season?
Yeah, I'll probably be making some small adjustments. We adjusted the slider as the year went on to where it went from more of kind of a little bit vertier to trying to go for more of like the death ball type profile. And so I think kind of continuing to work a little bit to adjust some of the profiles on some things. But overall, yeah, the mix will definitely be staying probably about the same.
Yeah, as far as anything mechanically, like looking back at your starts, are there things you can kind of pinpoint early in the year and say, oh, I want this to be different, that to be different? Do you feel better at the end of the season than you did at the beginning of the season, just kind of going back and looking at your body of work?
Absolutely. Yeah. Early season, we were very tall on some things. I wasn't really getting into my back hip as well. I kind of was like too tall, so I didn't really have the flexion needed to be able to hold positions longer to where I could actually put more force behind it. And so, yeah, I think early season you can kind of see if you look at my velo progression as the season went on. Early season, it kind of like slowly ticked up as we went, especially as we started to figure out the throw. Because I know back into the season, my velo was definitely up. And so, yeah, we kind of pick and see what we had. And so absolutely there's things that we worked on as the year went on that going into this next year, we'll be able to get locked in a little easier.
Yeah, and then I just kind of want to ask some questions about some of these guys in the dogs. I mean, Brent Honeywell, like anytime this guy opens his mouth, I mean, you saw him at the parade, I'll do anything I can to help the Los Angeles Dodgers win an effing championship. I mean, is this guy like this 24/7? I mean, fear the turtleneck for life. The goal, he had me at turtleneck, screwball, mullet. I mean, is this guy really like this 24/7, 365?
Yes, he is an absolute character, dude. He is the guy who gets to the front of the bus and just tells the craziest stories you've ever heard. Like he's one of the funniest dudes I think I've ever been around. Just a great vibes guy in general too. But he doesn't have an off switch. He's the same guy all the time.
Because kind of, I mean, what Brett Honeywell did for the Dodgers in the NLCS, you did for the Dodgers in the World Series. When you look at taking down those innings and giving the dogs what they needed. But yeah, I hope he's back in Dodger blue, and just so many characters out there. I mean, Anthony Bonda, we saw him at the Turkey Day event. I mean, this guy's like a rock star. All the ladies going crazy for this guy.
Dude, I have never seen anything like what I'm seeing with him right now. I mean, it was like an overnight thing. It was literally the one celebration with the mask and the shirt off, and he just became just famous immediately. Like he was in it's pretty funny to watch the reactions when we're going around to these different spots and kind of seeing these people's reactions to him. Yeah, he kind of embraces it, but kind of is like weird with it, but it's funny to watch.
Yeah, the funny thing is there's an Anthony Bonda lookalike contest today. The winner gets $100. Second place gets 6 Modelos. Third place gets 3 Modelos. So, yeah, these lookalike contests are pretty hilarious. But just kind of when you look back at this World Series run, I mean, you dreamt of this your whole life. I mean, being in the show, winning a World Series, that final out, just the feeling that you experienced, did that exceed your expectations for what that's like, that boyhood dream realized?
Absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, in the moment, I didn't even really know how to react, what to do. Like, it was like one of those moments where you're like, what do I do with my hands? Like, I just don't know what's happening, man.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like pure excitement and joy, and then just emotional. And like, yeah, couldn't even really wrap my head around it as it was happening. And that whole run in from the pen to go join the celebration was just surreal. Just kind of seeing everything happening. I mean, it was something you dream of forever, and it absolutely exceeded the expectations of all of it.
Yeah, and then you have the champagne, the beer showers. That's always a great moment. Then there's the parade. I think that we didn't know how this team would respond to a Dodgers World Series because we haven't seen it since 1988. And it was an endless sea of Dodgers fans everywhere. Dodgers Stadium was packed to the brim. I thought the parade was incredible. I thought the speeches, my favorite was Clayton Kershaw when he's like, Dodgers for life. And Brent Honeywell and Shohei and Yamamoto even spoke. I mean, just the whole parade, I think that couldn't have been any better.
Actually, no, it was kind of the perfect moment for the city. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously didn't get the parade in 2020. You could just tell how hungry everybody was for it, just to kind of be able to get out there and actually celebrate it. And I think that parade really is kind of getting to the stadium after the parade. Like, I've just been having the confetti falling as I Love LA's playing, and I've just kind of had that on repeat in my head this entire time since. And it's still just unbelievable what has happened over there.
Just an incredible day in LA. Now, as far as this team next season, I mean, being around these guys, being around the leaders of this team, Mookie, Shohei, Freddie, it feels like, I mean, we're not even a month after the World Series. They're already making big signings. It feels like this team is already looking at how do we do this again? How do we repeat? And the mindset of this organization is, hey, we're not happy with just 1 or 2 World Series. You want to win 3, 4, 5, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. You can tell just from everything that we're doing, the way we're going about it, and kind of the mindset obviously you're seeing from Mookie and obviously Shohei and all of them is they want to make this a dynasty. Baseball hasn't had a real dynasty in a long time where people have really been able to run off championships. And I think we have a real opportunity to be able to do that. And so it's kind of like really the hungriness of all of them that they just want to get out there and they just want to win them. And so you can see everything we're doing. We're putting in a good spot to be able to do that. And so I'm excited to kind of see what we do as we're moving into this next season.
Yeah, it just feels like confidence as at a 10. It feels like that cloud of the haters saying 60-game World Series, all that's gone. Now it's like, oh, now you're in big trouble. Now you're in big trouble because now we're playing with the lead. We're just adding rings. I want to ask you about Shohei Ohtani, though, the most fascinating baseball player in the world in a lot of people's eyes. You get to see him, be his teammate, be around him without the cameras on, without a million reporters everywhere. I mean, as far as his fame, what was it like to be around that? Did it feel like you were kind of around a big mega rock star all season long, like going on the road and just kind of seeing how people react to him?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I've ever been around somebody that you watch the entire fan base like react whenever he walks by. Even like dudes like in like their 40s and 50s are still just like losing their minds when this dude is coming by. And so yeah, it's like it is like a rock star. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in Japan at the start of the year next year. It's going to be like traveling around with like Michael Jackson. Like it's unbelievable to see how people react to him but also how well he handles it all, because he doesn't seem to let all of it bother him. He just kind of continues to do what he does, and it like he still feels like such a normal guy.
Yeah, and for someone that is a big league pitcher, I mean, how impressive is that to see someone go through rehab from a second major arm surgery while going 50-50? Just kind of what'd you see from his rehab all season?
Yeah, you can tell he's in a really good spot. Being able to watch some of his bullpens as he was coming back was looking really, really good. I mean, obviously, we've seen the stuff that he has. I mean, he has probably some of the best stuff in all of baseball. And so I'm excited to kind of see when he gets back, be able to see him get back to his top form, because I know from everything I've watched, like he rehabs and works harder than about anybody I've ever seen. And so I'm excited to see him get back to it.
It's going to be exciting. Like you said, I mean, just thinking about that gave me goosebumps. Him in Japan, even if he's not pitching, just the ovation from that crowd. I mean, maybe you got Yamamoto as well pitching. But last question after you, Landon, what are you going to do with the World Series ring? Are you going to be a guy that gives it to someone, that puts it in a safety deposit box, that gives it to their parents? You're going to be someone that I want to see wear it how come no one wears their World Series ring every single day? Can you just be that one guy who rocks it, no matter if it's a t-shirt, a hat, whatever it is? Can we just rock it so we can see it? I mean, I'm going to have to settle for the giveaway one. They'll probably give away like in July, like the $10 one, but can you rock yours just like normally for us?
I mean, we'll rock it some. I feel like if I rock it all the time, I'm gonna lose that thing. There's no way that I don't end up losing it at some point.
You know,
I misplace a lot of things. If it wasn't for my fiance, I'd be losing stuff all the time. And so I'll definitely be rocking it a good amount. But besides that, it'll probably just kind of be sitting on kind of the little trophy case, sitting on the shelf with kind of my other memorabilia we've gotten over the last year.
Yeah, I just can't imagine what it's going to look like, because 2020 already looked ridiculous, and they always feel they need to top themselves every single ring. I mean, you guys any insight onto what it might look like?
No, not yet. I don't have any insight.
Spoiler alert, a lot of diamonds.
A lot of diamonds. That's all I know. I know it's going to look ridiculous. It's going to be over the top and probably the coolest ring we've seen. And so I'm excited to get that thing.
Absolutely. And actually, I'll throw one out there. Just what is your lasting memory from this World Series run, Landon?
I mean, honestly, as I kind of said, it's really that confetti falling down. Like, I just kind of took a moment. You hear I Love LA playing, and you're just kind of staring up at the sky as it's all coming down. And so I think that moment is really what is kind of held with me, that I just keep having replay in my head.
Incredible stuff. By the way, Yankees, you can't play New York after a loss. And LA's out there celebrating a World Series title, right? I mean, I guess they're from Brooklyn, but you don't see the Dodgers playing I Love LA after a loss. I mean, did you even notice that at the time, or were you just kind of on cloud nine celebrating the World Series?
I was going to say, I actually didn't even know they did that.
They actually were playing Start spreading the news, and you guys are all dogpiling, doing your thing, having a good time. So they were kind of panning to some sad Yankees fans at the time, but it was just funny to see that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I don't know if I would have definitely played that. That's kind of an interesting choice. But yeah, no, I didn't even, like, in the moment, didn't even like realize that. I was just so in the moment of like trying to soak it in and celebrate that I didn't even hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, well, Daniel Hudson said at the parade, we're all World Series champions. So I'm including myself. I'm putting it on my LinkedIn that I'm a World Series champion now. Okay, I'm not getting a ring like you, but yeah, we're all champions here. But Landon, thank you so much for joining us here on Dodgers Dugout Live. Have a great offseason. It's going to be a short offseason. Before you know it, you're going to be reporting down at Camelback Ranch, and we'll catch up with you at some point in the offseason another time. Thank you so much, Landon. Appreciate joining us here on Dodgers Dugout Live.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. Always enjoy hopping on.